Mehdi Hasan did a recent interview with an Israeli teen who defied the Israeli draft, decided that he was not going to enlist, which is punishable with prison time in Israel. And he did serve about a 6-month prison sentence for it, where now, since getting out, he acts as an activist against the Israeli genocide at only the age of 18. Let's watch a few of these clips just to get the mindset of such an individual.
How did you become an activist in Israel at such a young age?
I think it was the realization that Israel is such a small country, and the protests that started against the Netanyahu judicial reforms were really close to my house, and I would go out to them and see members of Knesset, important people on the left, on the right. Everyone was just so close to me. And I think that I realized that as a young person, we can make this change, and we have the power to change.
And Tal, just on Palestine, I have to ask, do you remember, you're 18 years old, I know you've been doing this for a couple of years protesting. Do you remember the first time you heard the word occupation and began to understand what it is that your country is doing to Palestinians in the occupied West Bank and Gaza?
It really came from inside the house. My dad was a journalist, and he covered these subjects, going to interview Israeli politicians and Palestinian politicians. And we talked about the subject of occupation inside the house. But I think I really only realized kind of how big it is and how consequential it is when I started reading and researching by myself on the internet.
This is someone on the Israeli side who was moved just by witnessing the injustices his side were committing, and he took a noble stance to refuse to take part, which is more than honorable, especially considering the way that he could be punished for it with jail time. That's not an easy pill to stomach for anyone, and he's now using his voice to speak out against those exact actions, probably putting himself further in direct danger of his own government and their revengeful nature, so to speak. It's wonderful that he was able to realize this at such a young age, however, and it really speaks to how many Jews inside Israel feel, of whom do not agree with Netanyahu and his bloodthirst. They do not share his sentiment whatsoever. They don't want him to continue this war, but they're rendered unable to prevent it in any meaningful capacity.
When you see Israeli soldiers on TikTok filming themselves, destroying Palestinian homes, laughing as they do it, dancing, putting on Palestinian women's underwear, clothing after they've been dispossessed in Gaza, stealing their kids' toys, some of the grotesque stuff that we've seen online. A, how does that make you feel as someone who is supposed to be serving alongside these people in Gaza? And B, what do you think should happen to those people?
These are terrible scenes that we're seeing on social media. And I think they really reflect the dehumanization that has come across Israeli society, especially after October 7th. I think that after October 7th, everything became legitimate, calling Palestinians animals and putting them under humans. I think it's terrible, but I think the way that we go forward from this is a peaceful solution. I don't think that we should put all Israeli soldiers in prison. I think that the way that we move forward is societal change. And the way that we create societal change is by showing people that another way is possible.
It's because there's people who feel unburdened by their actions, as if there will be no repercussions, because they know they are the ones with the control and all the power and the imbalance. The way forward is the empathy shown to the Palestinian side, the international pressure against Israel to show them there will be repercussions, that the world won't just stand by while they do genocide. It starts with how the international courts are doing now, just ruling that their occupation is illegal, that it constitutes apartheid. Hopefully that sanctions then come to follow. The ICC then issuing warrants for war crimes committed by Netanyahu, and hopefully a ceasefire to bring this to end once and for all, and all the war criminals in the act to justice.
I think that anyone that claims to be a friend of Israel, like Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or any of the Democrats or Republicans claim to be, I think anyone that claims to be a friend of Israel or friend of Palestine should stop arming this war, should stop inviting Netanyahu and his colleagues to come to the U.S. as a friend. They don't realize that Netanyahu has been the one creating this war, creating this violence, stopping the hostages from coming back. I think it's a disgrace to invite a war criminal to speak in the United States Congress. It's not only Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say, you're right, it is a disgrace. Last question. You are a super brave, in my view, and very inspiring young man. Where does your personal bravery come from? What inspires, what drives Tal Mitnick?
I know that this is the right thing, and I know that we need to speak out.
It's voices exactly like this that bring actual hope in terms of a resolute end to this conflict. And I hope that Harris seeds the warning and listens to the voices of these individuals. Lots of signals show that she will. Netanyahu is the main player in this. He's the one that mainly needs to be brought to justice for his crimes. And his extreme right-wing coalition, of course, that he's bending at the knee to, they're the ones who want this. The people of Israel don't want this war. The people of Palestine don't want this war. And it should be the US, who is currently the main enabler, to withdraw its support from an occupation, from a genocide, because if we did so today, this would end quickly after. If you enjoyed this video, we're Social Society. We're a commentary channel influenced by politics, society, and the economy. We are pretty left-leaning on this channel, but we're open to our right-wingers as well. The biggest thing here is having conversations that get everyone to the bottom of the truth. If that sounds like something that could interest you, consider smashing that subscribe button, leaving us a like, or even commenting on this video. We even have memberships available as low as $3 if you'd like to support, because the only way we become a society is together. Peace.